So Walmart is the first to get caught raising prices on American-made products and then saying it's due to tariffs.
I will never order from Walmart again. Ever, 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 ever for deliveries. Not even for groceries at this point. This is fucking ridiculous.
For years, people had that quiet suspicion every time they walked out of a Walmart. The price on the shelf. The price at the register. They never quite matched, and you told yourself you were imagining it, that you must have grabbed the wrong item, that it wasn't worth the hassle of going back to check. You weren't imagining it. In 2026, the receipts finally caught up with the suspicion. Investigations, lawsuits, and a federal settlement are now confirming exactly what millions of shoppers assumed for years but could never actually prove. And it's not just one issue. It's pricing, it's counterfeit products, it's how the company talks to the people who deliver for it, and it's even your own voice on a customer service call. Let's go through all of it. Start with the most basic thing a retailer is supposed to get right, charging you what the shelf says you'll pay. A lawsuit alleges Walmart charged customers register prices higher than the prices advertised on store shelves, a type of consumer fraud sometimes called a scanner law violation. This isn't a fringe accusation from one angry customer with a receipt. Dozens of states have laws specifically requiring retailers to charge the shelf price when there's a discrepancy between what's posted and what the scanner rings up.
I'm here at a Walmart and I want to show you the electronic pricing tags that can change prices based on surge pricing. So as you know, a lot of places are starting to replace actual paper tags with digital tags. Here at the Walmart by me, they're doing that now. So let me show you what these look like and let me show you the difference. So here's a digital tag. These prices can change at a moment's notice. And they do throughout the day. Every single one has been changed to a digital tag, so these prices will go up 3 or 5 cents depending on what time of day it is, and they'll go up when more people are here shopping, and they'll go down when fewer people are here. So let me show you the difference. Here's an actual tag, and then here's the digital tag. See, they look identical, but this one is a digital tag. You can even scan it and change it, or it'll change depending on if they program it. And this is the paper tag, and this is on every single fucking one almost. And you can see here behind the glass. So this is happening at every Walmart across the country.
So Walmart is the first to get caught raising prices on American-made products and then saying it's due to tariffs. They've been caught not only by people, but Trump and his team, have called them out and said, we will be watching. You should eat the tariffs, is what Trump told them. Callahan Auto is pulling all their products out of Walmart's. They do auto parts, brake pads, and etc. They're pulling all their products out because they too caught Walmart raising prices under tariffs on American-made products. Again, they only care about their shareholders. They only care for what profit they can pull out. Trump told them, you guys made billions this last year. You were one of the most profitable companies. Target took a beating. A lot of the other places took a beating. You actually had a great year, and now you're raising your prices and saying it's tariffs, but it's American-made products. Pure greed, and they were caught.
And multiple complaints filed across different states allege Walmart has violated these laws at scale, not as an occasional glitch. And this wasn't just shopper guesswork or bad memory either. Internal audits and state consumer protection investigations in Michigan, California, and New York found price discrepancy rates at Walmart stores that exceeded the thresholds that actually trigger legal liability. That's the part we're sitting with. These weren't investigators going and looking for a problem and stretching to find one. The discrepancy rates were high enough on their own to cross a legal line regulators had already defined. Think about how this actually plays out for a normal shopper. $2 here, $3 there. It sounds small enough to shrug off in the moment. You're standing at a self-checkout, the line's building behind you, and you're not about to hold everyone up over $2. But even a $2 overcharge repeated across 10 shopping trips adds up to real money for one household. And at Walmart's scale, With over 4,600 US stores and hundreds of millions of transactions a year, the company's total exposure on this runs into the tens of millions of dollars. Multiply that quiet, easy-to-ignore $2 gap by the sheer volume of people shopping there every single day, and you start to understand why regulators in 3 different states independently landed on the same conclusion. Then there's the marketplace problem, and this one didn't start with a lawsuit. It started with an actual investigation. A CNBC investigation examined Walmart's online marketplace and specifically looked at the steps the company did, or didn't, take to vet its third-party sellers, focusing on fraud and the sale of fakes moving through the platform. The fallout from that reporting was almost immediate. Estée Lauder sued Walmart in California federal court, alleging the retailer sold counterfeit beauty products on its website and failed to properly ensure only authorized, authentic merchandise reached shoppers. The lawsuit specifically alleges Walmart played an active role in facilitating those sales, not just hosting a bad actor unknowingly, but actively enabling the transaction, and the company called Walmart's conduct despicable in the filing. Here's what makes this concrete instead of theoretical. Estée Lauder said it purchased, inspected, and tested products actually sold on Walmart.com carrying the Le Labo, La Mer, Clinique, Aveda, Tom Ford, and Estée Lauder trademarks, and determined they were fakes. This isn't a hypothetical risk. 2 of the specific counterfeit products cited in CNBC's original investigation, an Estée Lauder Advanced Night Repair Serum and a Clinique Smart Clinical Repair Wrinkle Correcting Eye Cream, were later cited again in Estée Lauder's own lawsuit. Real people bought what they believed was a premium skincare product, applied it to their skin, and were instead using something manufactured by nobody who could stand behind its ingredients or safety testing. And Walmart's own response is worth pausing on, because it tells you almost as much as the lawsuit itself. The company initially told CNBC it requires all sellers to offer only authentic, lawful merchandise, and said it doesn't tolerate bad actors on its platform. Then it walked that statement back and issued a shorter, more cautious version instead. Companies confident they've done nothing wrong don't usually retract their own quotes mid-story. This next one is bigger than a single lawsuit. It's a federal settlement, which is a very different category of admission. A $100 million settlement between Walmart, the FTC, and multiple state attorneys general resolved litigation alleging the retailer misrepresented potential earnings to delivery drivers. Sit with what that actually means in practice. This wasn't a private dispute quietly settled between 2 parties who wanted to avoid a trial. This involved a federal regulator and a coalition of state attorneys general, working together, who found enough evidence that Walmart oversold what real people could expect to earn, that it was worth a 9-figure payout to close the matter. These were real people, many of them treating this as their primary source of income, some juggling it around a second job or childcare, who structured their schedules, their household budgets, and sometimes even decisions about buying a car or taking on other work around earnings numbers the company put directly in front of them. When those numbers turn out to have been misleading at a scale that draws a 9-figure federal settlement, that's not marketing optimism. That's a gap between what was promised and what people could actually count on, one that regulators decided was serious enough to formally act on. And then there's the part of this story that sounds like it belongs in a completely different decade. A lawsuit filed in Illinois federal court alleges Walmart's AI-powered interactive voice system collected, stored, and disseminated a customer's voice print during calls she made to a Walmart store, without ever informing her in writing that her biometric information was being collected, explaining why it was being collected, disclosing how long it would be retained, or obtaining her written consent beforehand. A separate class action filed in Illinois state court raises very similar allegations, but pushes further, alleging Walmart also disclosed customers' biometric information to third parties outside the company entirely. According to that complaint, callers to Walmart stores hear a short automated message stating that the call and their voice may be recorded for business purposes, including fraud prevention. That's it. That's the entire disclosure most people hear before their voice gets processed by an AI system. Plaintiffs argue that generic, Blink and you miss it message falls well short of what biometric privacy law actually requires. Real informed consent, not a vague heads-up buried in hold music. Think about what that means practically. Every time you called customer service about a return, a missing order, or a store hour, thinking you were just sitting on hold, your voice may have become a permanent, uniquely identifiable data point inside a system you never knowingly agreed to join. Voice prints aren't like a password you can reset. Once that data exists somewhere, it exists about you specifically for good. Zoom out, and 2026 isn't one isolated scandal for Walmart. It's a pattern showing up across nearly every part of the business simultaneously. Walmart faces dozens of active lawsuits this year alone, spanning everything from wage theft to customer injury claims, and the company has paid out over $2 billion in settlements since 2015. On top of the pricing case, the counterfeit case, and the driver earnings settlement we just walked through, Walmart is also currently facing separate legal action tied to data breaches and self-checkout pricing errors, a different flavor of the same shelf price problem, just automated this time. There's even an antitrust class action alleging Pepsi and Walmart engaged in a scheme to artificially fix Pepsi soft drink prices, meaning the overcharging question isn't just about scanner glitches anymore. It's potentially about coordinated pricing decisions above the store level entirely. And separately, a lawsuit claims Walmart's chia seeds contain dangerous levels of mold contamination that went undisclosed to consumers who bought them believing they were buying a health food staple. None of these are internet rumors or conspiracy theories circulating on social media. They're active court filings, a completed federal settlement with the FTC, and one piece of investigative journalism that forced a major public company to quietly retract its own public statement. That's the actual difference between everyone just assumed something was off and everyone turns out to have been right. Walmart is still the biggest retailer in the country. It's still growing, still opening new stores and clubs while plenty of its competitors are closing theirs. None of that changes what's currently sitting in these court filings. A shelf price that isn't the real price, happening at a scale large enough to trigger legal liability in 3 separate states. A marketplace that let counterfeit luxury beauty products reach real customers' skin. A driver earnings pitch that federal regulators found misleading enough to warrant a 9-figure fine. A voice recognition system quietly gathers biometric data from people who called customer service expecting nothing more than a normal phone call. The pattern here isn't about one bad headline or one unlucky year. It's about what happens when a company becomes so large, and so deeply embedded in daily life, that its own scale starts working against the very people relying on it to simply tell them the truth, about a price, about a product, about an income, about a phone call. What's your Walmart story? Have you ever caught a price at the register that didn't match what was on the shelf? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear how common this actually is.